everybody. Appreciate everybody joining. The reason we're doing the webinar is we've been working with a lot of direct, indirect partners, and there's been a whole lot of questions, some things that are confusing, and we wanted to go through and take the opportunity to kind of go through what the change is, answer questions, and hopefully go through and make it an easy and smooth process if you do need to move from direct bill to indirect bill. So I'll move right forward. With us today, we've got Eric Fink. He's one of the channel sales managers with Microsoft. He's been with Microsoft for 11 plus years. He's got tons of knowledge in the Dynamics space. He works with us and our partners, helping out with opportunities, and is going to cover some of the changes on the direct bill to indirect to hopefully clear up any questions. Additionally, we've got Jeff Edwards, and Jeff is our Senior VP of Channels here with Stratos Cloud Alliance. Jeff also has a long tenureship, worked 17 years with Microsoft, mostly in the Dynamics space. It's been working with Dynamics partners for that 17 years and more, has been with us going on 5 years now. So just a wealth of knowledge from Stratos, Microsoft, and the programs. And myself, I'm Scott May. I'm the Director of Channel Development. I've been with Stratos now for about 17 years and in the Dynamics channel, if you will, for 30 plus years, working with partners. So we certainly appreciate you guys attending and hope that you find the information that we're providing today of value. So with that, I'm going to go through and turn it over to Eric, and he's going to go through a few things. Well, let me first cover the agenda. Eric's going to go through kind of his Microsoft go-to-market and program updates from direct to indirect. I'm going to kind of go a little deeper in what's actually changing. We're going to cover some of the CSP Direct-Bill partner decision worksheet that you all should have received already at this point. And then Jeff and I are going to kind of discuss a little further, what we're doing at Stratos to help direct partners that need to move to indirect, and the resources and the value that we can bring in that process. And then we'll open it up, as Mike said, for some Q&A time at the end. So now I'll throw it over to you, Eric.
Yeah, appreciate it, Scott. Good to be here. Thanks so much. As Scott alluded to, I sit in channel sales at Microsoft. The official role is partner solution sales, and my solution is the AI business process solution, or what we call biz apps in prior fiscal years. I do look after also our unmanaged customer segment. So at Microsoft, if you can imagine, there's the enterprise, the Coca-Colas and the Banks of America, with a ton of resources directly working with those customers from Microsoft. There's a middle segment called SME and C, the small, medium enterprise and channels. And SMB, or unmanaged, is part of that middle organization. So in the area I am, our customers do not have an account executive. They do not have specialists. They don't have technical specialists. So the partner ecosystem, the folks on this call, do everything from the evaluation to the selection to the implementation to the post-sales support. So I am in a role that supports the selling motion with those partners. So if your customer is looking for Microsoft engagement, or you need Microsoft support in the deal pursuit that you're in, that's where I come into play. And there's two of us that look after the US. I've been in the role for a little bit over 4 years, and because of that, I get exposed to a lot of the things that impact our ecosystem and our partner ecosystem. So just want to touch on this CSP direct and indirect authorization and update today. So I cleaned this slide up a little bit. This did originally have all of the information on it that applied to indirect resellers keeping their authorization, direct resellers keeping their authorization, even distributors keeping their authorization. And this isn't net new information. This is really just a refresh, right? So this was announced back in FY25. We're now in FY26, and the go live on this started on October 1st. So a lot of you have already been through the content, and there really isn't any changes to what was announced, but I just want to make sure everyone knows we are now in the middle of this, right? So October was the beginning of it, and notifications have started going out to all the partners that are going to be impacted. So again, this is just the revenue requirement among a few other checkboxes that need to be achieved or accomplished by our direct CSPs to remain either as a direct CSP or to move to the indirect channel. The eligibility requirements are revenue-based, and then there's a few other administrative and security-based. And then again, depending on your CSP authorization anniversary, you'll be getting notifications in advance as the global admin on when you need to action to either avoid deactivation or to have shifted into the indirect. And again, I think that there's a little bit of we've got a lot of time or we don't have a lot of time. So Scott, if you want to shift to the next slide, I put this out sort of in a visual timeline. Like, I think the good news is you have 150 days from first notification to when the billing stops and you're going to be offboarded. And that can feel like a lot of time, but number one, we're already in February, right? And this started in October. So it would be pretty close now to where almost every partner has started to receive the notifications at the 90-day point, just depending on timing. And while 150 days feels like a long time, I'll also say that that it takes time. Number one, for you to make your decision on where you want to land, and number two, to logistically get through it. So I think you want to make sure that from the first notification, assuming you've received it or will be receiving it soon, that you're already in action and taking action to engage with the indirect. Next slide, Scott. So the things that get top of mind for me, right, especially on the things that you want to pay attention to and acknowledge is if and when you do get de-auth from a direct CSP, is you're no longer able to add net new customers, which is a terrible thing, right? And you're also not able to renew your current customers. So ongoing business is critical. You don't want anybody losing access to licensing, and you don't want to lose customers during the process. So I think one of the things you certainly want to do as well is existing customers can be transitioned during this entire process, so before you're deauthorized, but most you'll be able to transition at renewal. So again, if I'm looking at the timeline, if your billing has stopped, if you're no longer authorized as a direct CSP, you still can maintain your existing customer up to their renewal, but that renewal then needs to go through the indirect in order to renew their licensing for another either a month or annual. Again, start the association early. I've been on a couple of support escalations and visibility to where just things get clunky in the plumbing, right? A global admin has left, an association, click here, click there is not perfect science. So you don't want to be waiting to the last 30 days in order to start the process. Like I would be engaging with the folks at Stratos early for these conversations. All support is initiated in Partner Center. So as much as I would like to have the wizard behind the curtain who can fix these issues and kind of back channel questions or support, everything has to be initiated and started in Partner Center. But I think on the bright side, and I was on an internal call regarding this, like I don't think this is as much well known, is there's a service for partners called Pre-Sales Technical and Deployment Services, and there's a link at the end of the deck for accessing them. They do a ton of cool stuff from a pre-sale standpoint for practice development, demo development, sort of solutioning. And one of the things that they're now empowered and empowered to do is help partners through this direct to indirect authorization plan, right? So making sure that you're prepared how you would do the transition. It's not a hand holding, right? Like they're not actually going to do it for you, but they'll coach you through where to find all the information and how to begin the process and how to go through the process. So I think you definitely want to leverage the pre-sales technical and deployment folks.
Yeah, and Eric, I'd just add in that, at Stratos, we've been working with a lot of direct, indirect partners. We have a lot of knowledge on it. We're a managed partner with Microsoft. So obviously, if there's issues or, concerns, we're helping manage that process as well as, leveraging the pre-sales technical services. So, we're here to help through that transition.
Yep. You can go to the next one. So I'm going to call this just unofficial documentation, right? So this is Eric's opinion here. This isn't the official Microsoft position. But look, I get asked a ton, even outside of the context of an authorization or deauthorization because of revenue requirements. Why would I want to go direct or indirect? What are the benefits there? So again, these are sort of PSS, partner solution sales, Eric Fink opinions here to common topics. And the first one really is just growing the business with Microsoft and visibility and with Microsoft. And for the most part, like your relationship and span or scale within Microsoft is actually going to be a net positive with the indirect model. And a lot of it is because of the investments that Microsoft makes into that channel, whether it's readiness or headcount or programs, all these things that we're doing to make sure a Stratos Cloud can scale and service more partners than Microsoft can directly. You're more likely to have access to, again, folks like me, partner solution architects, escalations within Microsoft. So I think that the net or the green pluses there is that your experience and growth opportunity with Microsoft is just a more positive experience with the indirect channel. Operationally, again, I don't get involved in processing orders or signing up and doing support or going through marketplaces, but I know it's not easy. And I know a lot of it gets outsourced, and I know it's an additional cost to you as a partner. And these are the services that, Stratos is providing. So they're helping go through this. And I just think about like even just the monthly price list, right? That's a hefty spreadsheet to keep track of and make sure is updated every single month. So, having the benefit of working with Stratos is super useful there. Margins, I try to stay away from these conversations. Those are relationships that you have with Stratos. But really the cost of goods sold, that operational section above, like that's where a lot of costs are. So the points that you have as part of your relationship with Stratos, that might be lost from a direct percentage is I think usually equal to or even maybe a benefit to not having to pay for all of the operational pieces. And you still have access to all the same incentives that you do as a direct CSP. And potentially, depending on what Microsoft is putting into market, even more incentives, because a lot of times we'll incent the indirect channel to incent their partners as well. And then lastly, just the ability to scale the business. Like I think that, the services, the talent, the additional support you have from a partner like Stratos, like they focus on dynamics, right? So they've got talented folks on staff that can help with your business, with questions, with your opportunities. So I think a lot of net positive there. I mentioned the resources slide, so it wouldn't be a good Microsoft PowerPoint if I didn't have, and I limited it to 5 links, but normally it would be 25 links of content for you to go read through. I think, again, if you have basic questions, I would look at number 1, that's the CSP authorization look. I think that number 5, again, is to Scott's point, something you can have those conversations with Stratos. But I think that if you do want that second opinion from Microsoft, where no one from Microsoft is talking to you about this, about your indirect motion, then I would submit for a technical pre-sales and deployment services and a secondary plug just for their services in general. Like I think they're a good service to our partners. So I think that's it for my contact in terms of resources. I'm certainly sticking around for the rest of the call, and we'll keep an eye on chat and Q&A and do my best to address the stuff that comes up. I'm not an MAICPP super expert, so I may defer a little bit to Scott and Jeff with some of the questions, and then also do homework. But let's try to get all the questions answered for you. Appreciate Stratos for inviting me to this call, and I'll mute up and let you take over, Scott.
Yeah, Eric, I certainly appreciate it. I think there was a couple questions that were to you. Certainly, we'll try and take those at the end in a Q&A, or if you can go through and chat back, certainly that would be appreciated. But we certainly appreciate all your time and the support that you give to us and to our partners. And thank you for joining us today. So I want to go to just a few things, just a little bit more in depth, because I'm the one working with most of the partners that are moving from direct to indirect, and I get most of the questions and the confusion. So Beyond basically the 1 million trailing 12-month, there are other requirements that you have to go through and meet. And we've had some partners basically that are going to meet the $1 million, but basically aren't going to go through and meet the other requirements. So they've chosen to just move indirect because they found more value in working with us than necessarily trying to jump through all the hoops to maintain their direct status. So some of those are, you do have to have solution designations. So if you don't have the solution designations, your agreement won't be renewed as a direct bill. Microsoft obviously is requiring now support plans for either advanced support for partners or getting the premier support, and I think they're changing that as well. And that seems to continue to be going up in price from what I can tell and working with partners. Right now, it's anywhere between like 20 and 50K annually. And if you move to direct, you don't necessarily have to go through. You're not required to maintain a Microsoft support plan, and we can help you, with that support. There's also, Microsoft Advanced Security requirements, and you have to kind of update and maintain your own price book and marketplace if you've got one, and you don't have to do that basically as an indirect partner. So, we're providing that to you. We're keeping that up to date, saving a lot of operational time and cost there, if you will, from that perspective. And then, I know there's just an annual overall assessment that Microsoft's doing where you have to get a passing score, if you will, from Microsoft to go through and maintain your direct bill status, if you will. So if you're not a managed partner with Microsoft, and as basically Eric was saying, you're not getting a whole lot of value for the resources, we can definitely go through and assist and kind of become, your managed partner to us, if you will. The other part that I wanted to dive into, because this is a question that I get most of the time, is the incentives. And just want to reiterate that basically the incentives that you're getting as a direct CSP or direct bill CSP, you will still be able to continue to get as an indirect bill reseller. And, that's basically Microsoft has actually ended up paying more, in the regards, because they pay us as a distributor back end incentives as well. And then we work with partners to make sure, they're getting all their incentives and they're basically able to go through and submit their MCI claims and everything else. We support them in doing that. So, you're not losing incentives by having to move to, the indirect model.
Scott, just to be like super clear, it's the exact same percentages. It's paid directly from Microsoft to either the direct reseller or the indirect reseller, but the
Correct.
percentages, they match those, dollar for dollar.
Yeah, if you get basically the incentives guide out and look at them side by side, the direct basically incentive is the same for the partner as the indirect incentive. And that's a good point, because I get that question. It does go, Jeff, directly to, the partner. It's not coming through us, it's the distributor, and we're redistributing that. It just still goes all directly to the partner, whether it's co-op or incentive payback or whatever the incentive is.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Additionally, I'll point out that, as an indirect partner, they've changed the requirement. Basically, you only have to meet 25 points of the 70 points for solution designation and meet a specific trailing 12-month, I think it's 25,000 in trailing 12-month revenue in order to get some of those incentives. So as long as you're working towards it and Microsoft sees that, you can still go through and take advantage of those incentives at this point. Whereas, as the direct reseller, direct bill, you'd have to meet the $1 million in order to be able to go through and continue to get the incentive and have the solution designation. So there's advantages of going indirect, if you will. The partner capability scoring, obviously, I just mentioned this, there's an advantage now of only doing that with 25 points to get the incentives. But most of the partners we work with are going after the business application CSP incentives. and you can see basically the different points that you can get in each one of those areas from performance, skilling, and customer success. But again, they just changed that so that if you only got 25 points towards your 70, and you've got a 25,000 trailing 12-month revenue, you can go through and still take advantage of those incentives in the business application space. Did want to go through this just at a high level. This is available to everybody. We created, what we call the decision worksheet to help partners kind of understand the process to go through. It's a 6-step process, if you will. Just going through, what you need to look at. There's links within it to go through and help you decide, or not decide, but find where to get the information within Partner Center. Directions on how to go through and, evaluate whether or not you're going to go through and meet the requirements to maintain your direct bill status. And then if you're not going to meet that direct bill status and you're going to need to move to the indirect, what's the process that you need to go through? As Eric laid out, right? What's the time frame that you should be starting that? How do you walk through it? How do you kind of evaluate, what indirect provider that you should work with? So it's really a worksheet that helps you as a partner understand if you're going to make it, evaluate if you're not going to make it, or if you're close, what do you really need to go through and focus on in order to make it before your direct bill CSP agreement would come up for renewal. And if you've got any questions on that, obviously we can help you with it. All of the folks that you'll work with here at Stratos are tenured Dynamics folks, probably 15 years plus on average, can go through and answer all of your questions. So I wanted to go through and spend a little bit about time just in regards to, what Stratos is doing to help direct bill partners that have to move to, the indirect bill reseller model. We've been doing that now since back in probably September, and have been working with a lot of partners, helping them through the process and just adjusting to becoming an indirect reseller. So Jeff and I wanted to spend a few minutes just going through Stratos Cloud Alliance, what we're doing to help partners, so that you can kind of understand what Eric was talking about, that gap of maybe the margin difference, won't be as significant based upon, the value add that we're bringing to you as a partner. So Stratos Cloud Alliance, basically, we're about 550 employees. We've got about 500 partners, a little different than other indirect distributors that are out there in that, we don't have 10,000 plus partners. We're only focused on the Microsoft Cloud. We specialize in Dynamics business applications, which we've been doing for 35 plus years, have, an extremely high NPS score and client retention, tons of industry awards, tens of thousands of successful projects that we've implemented across the entire Microsoft Cloud stack. So certainly support our partners in, Azure and M365 and Power Platform and Copilot, but certainly specialize within Business Central and FNSCM and the whole CE platform, if you will. We've worked with over 5,000 plus clients, and then supported, our partners and their clients as well. So got a lot of breadth and depth of client experience, and as well as product experience, if you will, from that perspective. This kind of is an eye chart, but Jeff and I kind of wanted to go through, what we provide to you as a partner when you move to the indirect model. One of the things that we provide and that we take off, partners' plates is kind of maintaining that price book and marketplace. We provide our partners a best-in-class marketplace that's used by other, large, distribution partners. Basically, that is where you're going to go through and manage all of your ordering, invoicing, invoicing centralized. We maintain basically your price book and all of the SKUs, so you don't have to go through and every time Microsoft updates that each month, spend cycles focusing on that. We manage that for you. We help support you on that. It's basically, you get one bill for easily reconciliation. The capabilities within the marketplace allow you to what they call co-term. So it makes billing easy for you when people upsize and downsize during the middle of their agreement. It provides you with a branded marketplace that you and your folks can use, as well as you can offer a self-service portal to your partners that's branded for you. So, you'll be able to go through and extend that if you want to your clients, and you can do that on a client by client basis. We also have a new payment portal and invoicing and payment portal that's part of it that makes it easy to go through and manage and pay for those subscriptions. And we do offer a lot of advanced reporting so that you can easily go through and see all the subscriptions and what client has what and when they're due. So it's just something that we're providing to you, and we're maintaining that, and that takes it off your plate. If you would have to do this on your own, typically a platform of this nature would probably be $100K in investment, and then you'd have to maintain it on a monthly basis, which takes time and effort. So if you're interested in seeing that portal, I have some demos and things of that nature that I could provide to you, or we could set up some time to walk through it. Jeff, I think you were going to cover, kind of more of what we do enablement wise for our partners and how we, help them to continue to build their Microsoft practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've, as Scott mentioned earlier, we're a 500-person organization that does pretty much everything in the Microsoft stack, additional ISVs. So for our purposes, we are always creating training, utilizing the best of Microsoft training, spans from things like AI envisioning workshops that we have right now to try and really land AI with partners and customers. We're the biggest BC partner in the world, and certainly by a good stretch in North America. So BC migration, new deal services around BC, where we have just a depth of expertise. And really, there's all kinds of potential providers out there that have a lot of capabilities and skills that we interact with. And just over the years, if you need a marketing agency, we have people that are experts like we are in the dynamic space. If you need sales training, if you need various kind of skills and capabilities you need to increase in your organization, we also have advantaged relationships that we pass on to you, and we make sure all of these people, as you know, like any marketing agency, do they get biz apps? Do they get ERP, sales capabilities, sales training? I think the long sales cycles, expensive sales cycles of ERP and biz apps, Azure and AI are a lot different than just your standard vanilla sales process. So making all of these enablements specific to this business, looking at everything Microsoft puts out, picking the best of that. We certainly create a ton of our own stuff as well, just to make it more efficient for our partners. I think we all have the experience of, hey, I'm sure Microsoft has something out there, but it takes so long to find it. We're big enough that we take the time to find it. And some of it's amazing and some of it's not so good. And we create our own stuff as well on the enablement front to make sure our partners can just be ready for all of this. Scott, you want to talk about ProServe?
Yeah, Jeff, I just add on to the enablement. It's constantly changing. We've got Todd Michael, who's been with us for 20 years. That's our director of enablement, and we're constantly looking at new programs. Sometimes we get investment from Microsoft and provide that back to our partners. He's always looking at additional value-added services. So always looking at things that we can bring to our partners to help them continue to grow their practice. One of the areas I don't think most partners think about when they're looking at a distribution partner, they're typically looking at just, hey, how they're going to help me do licensing, right? And obviously we can help you do all the licensing with Microsoft that I just spoke about before, have all the expertise to do that. But really our value add as partners is, how we can really help you strategically build your business. And we do that through the enablement programs that Jeff just mentioned. Our professional services are available to our partners. So most of our partners are focused in one or two different kind of Microsoft platform areas, whether that's BC or CE or Power Platform. But they've got a client base, and there's an opportunity there to go through and extend into the entire Microsoft Cloud platform. And they don't have to have the expertise because you can leverage our resources across the entire Microsoft Cloud platform for D365, for M365, Azure, Power Platform, Copilot. They're all through the partner as well. So we're not doing anything direct with the clients. It's all driven through the partner. It's built through you as the partner. We've got resources also. Most of our resources are domestic, but we've also got offshore and nearshore resources that are available for partners to tap into if they need to from a rate perspective. We've got partner support plans and partner support that we provide. As I had mentioned before, you don't have to have the Microsoft support plans, the AFSP or the Premier. You can leverage our support. And then if we need to submit support incidences to Microsoft, we can do that through our support portal. We've got vertical applications that we support as well that are ours that you can resell. Power CRM is one that comes to mind. It really fits in a gap between kind of what's available within Business Central, but maybe somebody that doesn't need full-blown CE. Our Power CRM solution is fantastic, built upon the Power Platform, integrates to BC and all the other Microsoft Cloud solutions. You can resell that as a partner through us. Advanced Project Accounting is one of our solutions that's for Business Central. That is a vertical industry solution. We've got others for agri solutions, growers, distributors, not-for-profit, and other solutions that you'd be able to resell through us, as well as basically professional services to help implement and support those. Additionally, we work with a lot of ISVs, specifically for the Business Central and D365 solutions that our partners, if they would want, as kind of a one-stop shop, can resell those solutions through us. Things like InsightWorks or Solver or Avalara, and I could go on and on. But we really try and make it kind of like the easy button, right, for working with us, both for Microsoft Dynamics solutions or Microsoft Cloud solutions, as well as ISV applications that they could go through and use and provide them professional services that they can leverage to help grow their practice with, what I call, less risk, less financial investment, and a quicker go-to-market time frame because you don't have to go through and be the expert on all things. We're the expert that you can tap into. Jeff, you want to talk just a little bit about kind of the marketing and sales support that we do for our partners?
Yeah, sure. I think for many partners, marketing and pre-sales is one of the biggest challenges, right? Fairly expensive resources, keeping them engaged, keeping on top of everything from a new solution perspective that's coming out, new routes to market. How do you do more effective LinkedIn campaigns? How do you kind of utilize webinars? More, kind of staying up to date on this is tough. We try and put marketing campaigns packaged into a box that's very easy for our partners to execute and customize. We have 17 pre-sales architects in the company across the entire Microsoft stack. So doing kind of an amazing demo from a pre-sales perspective, showing how the product sings. We also have that, NAV and GP and SL background. So we can answer the questions around how's this different from the applications the customer currently has. We have partner marketing manager, as Michael's on the phone, been with us. We're bringing on a new one. This is somebody that engages with you directly to help you be better marketers and help you take advantage of all the tools and capabilities we have. And we have a team of partner development managers that also drive that conversation, make sure you're getting all you need. And just to let you know, these PDMs are, probably average 10 to 15 years in the Dynamics and Microsoft space, very tenured people with a depth of knowledge in the technology and with Microsoft, including opportunities with Microsoft for deal assistance, for opportunities for investment. We stay on top of that so you don't have to, and we have that connection with folks like Eric to be able to flip that over and make sure our partners can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I know,
Scott,
Jeff.
you want to hit dev services?
Yeah, some of the things that we're doing on the kind of marketing and sales side that also fall into enablement. I know we're doing some co-pilot envisioning workshops, right? That we're extending out to, partners that they can go through to get themselves more up to speed. And then obviously, extending that out to running those for their clients as well, so that you can start to develop interest. And I know that we're developing one for Business Central, both for migrations as well as new sales opportunities from a kind of workshop perspective that partners can take advantage of. So we're here to help try and drive and grow your business across the entire Microsoft Cloud platform. The development migration, this is another area that kind of people don't know that we do. We are a Microsoft ISV development center. So we worked with a lot of ISV partners to help get their solutions onto Business Central, out into Microsoft's App Source or the marketplace. We do anything anywhere from actually doing the development to just helping them through the process with Microsoft to get it approved, which is sometimes a daunting task in itself. And then we work with some partners that, we're providing them what we would consider managed services offerings on the development side, because if you've got something that's out on App Source, Microsoft has 2 releases a year. You have to go through and test those and make sure that they get approved to be able to maintain that. So we have those types of offerings. Development basically also encompasses kind of legacy migrations. So, as Jeff said, SL, NAV, GP, we're a migration center. We've got packaged services utilizing Copilot now that are helping accelerate that process, if that's the right term, so that you can go through and move more of your clients over, to BC and to FNSCM, faster with less cost for you, and still be able to make the same amount of revenue, and margin. So we're continually looking at ways to help our partners move those clients as quickly as possible, and providing development services as needed through there. So Jeff, this is just something you can cover here real quick.
Sure. And basically I would say that Microsoft delivers an incredible story, right? Between Teams and Dynamics, Outlook, all the integration, the ISVs that are out there, there's a great story to tell that enables people to automate an entire business. But we're a 450 person organization, and keeping up with all that is hard for us. So it's you have to reach that level of scale. People are hard to find. Keeping people utilized, if it's something that only comes around once in a while, is very difficult. So what we like to say is, utilize us on a temporary basis, optimize as you need without hiring people, without getting all that knowledge and capability. And then those people go back, right? When an opportunity is complete, or when a marketing campaign is executed, you can use our resources as you need. And frankly, from a self-interest perspective, it also helps our scale and our cost as we keep those people fully utilized. So pre-sales folks, as I mentioned, a 17-person team. I think our marketing organization is 21 people. Consulting organization is hundreds. Support is tens. Utilizing all those resources as you need them just makes us better together. And we've been in this space for a long time. We are Dynamics people. We understand the business and we understand the partner ecosystem. And we think that combination is really powerful for both the customer and the partner.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. The resources that we have, it's not just, several people in each business unit, right? I think our BC team has 70 people in it. Our CE team has probably 25. I think our Power Platform and Copilot team has somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 people, and our cloud team, which covers M365 and Azure, probably has 20 people in it. So it's not just the depth of knowledge, but we have the breadth of resources to help our partners out with their clients. So I think that's a really good point, Jeff. So again, I'm not going to read through all these, but we've been a inner circle partner for the last 30 years straight. We're a recent 24-25 business applications inner circle partner of the year. We've been a U.S. indirect provider of the year. We are basically a large managed partner for Microsoft, and basically can really go through and assist you as a partner in working with Microsoft through working with us. As I said, you really become to us, you're a managed partner with Stratos. And then we leverage all of our expertise and resources and connections with Microsoft to go through and help drive and grow your business as well. So you're working with an organization that's highly respected within Microsoft, highly awarded, and we certainly go through and bring all of that expertise and excellence to bear in working with you as a partner. So, I'll just kind of end with, hey, we'd like you to partner with us today, right? If you're interested in joining, it's no cost to become a partner. You can visit the partner join site that I've listed there. Or if you have more questions and want to reach out to me, you can hit me up via email, my LinkedIn, or my Calendly link is there, where you can just go schedule a Teams meeting with me for a time that works for you. And I'd be more than happy to answer any additional questions that may come up that we can't get answered during this session, or show you a demo of the marketplace, or discuss any of the things that we discussed here a little bit further. But with that, I'll open it back up to Eric and to Jeff, and just to see, Mike, if there's any Q&A that we might not have answered during the chat and things of that nature.
Sure, yeah. I know Eric answered a few questions in the chat. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to talk about out loud, Eric, from those answers that you had given.
Yeah, thanks. I think just the consistent thing here is the frustrations and struggles with support versus guidance versus where do we get our help and escalations. And I think the best guidance I can give is the MAI CPP concierge is one route for guidance, and that's really guidance around solution designation, less around CSP authorization, deauthorization. I would focus my guidance, meaning I need help with guidance, either with Stratos, as an example, or that technical and pre-sales deployment team to give guidance on the authorization topic. Everything is still going to be partner center support, and I certainly know that partner center support experiences mileage can vary depending on how the case was entered, where it gets routed, who they point you to. It won't change that is the entry point for every support escalation. We can't do anything without an SR from partner center support. So if you need action taken, not necessarily guidance, but action taken, I would take the action with partner center support. Guidance, I would lean on Stratos, who can lean on Microsoft. I would lean on the pre-sales technical and deployment teams. So I think that's the sort of the consistent theme in a lot of the questions.
Great, thanks, Eric. Mike, were there other questions that maybe I or Jeff can answer that I wasn't, looking at the chat the whole time, or the Q&A
Sure.
while we're going through it?
Yep. So Eric covered those questions. Let's see here. We had a couple other questions that he covered. There was one on for the partner capability scoring. You said that skilling points and trailing revenue was what is looked at. Was that for indirect billing?
Yes, that's indirect. So if you're an indirect partner, in order to go through and get the incentives, you'd have to be at 25 points for a specific solution designation, and 25,000 in trailing 12 month, within that kind of solution designation area. Obviously, most of us are, focused on business applications in order to go through and be approved to get incentives without actually having the solution designation yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do help support our partners if they have got questions on that, or if they've got issues with getting, things approved from Microsoft. We're actually working with another value-added partner that we're going to be rolling out, who's doing things with partners to help make sure all of the solution designation and all of the revenue accreditation is done correctly, because we've heard that there's been difficulties in Microsoft of some of that not showing up correctly. So we're working with a partner that we're going to be rolling out here soon, some programs to assist partners in making sure, they're getting everything qualified from Microsoft that they should be. There's the CPOR basically now, which is the, opportunity, even if you're not reselling the licenses, to go through and get revenue credit, for you as a partner, so that you can meet the revenue requirements that you need to. Some of those are difficult sometimes. So, Todd and the partner development managers are working with Microsoft, and we're working with some value-added partners to help drive that as well.
One of the questions, or some of the questions, kind of has to do over the renewal dates. Are there any other some partners, it seems that it doesn't seem practical to have teams manage clients, either direct CSP or indirect portals, over a bunch of different times over a transition year, and would rather move all at once and be done. Is there any solution on that, or any advice you would give?
It can be done, and basically, we've had a lot of direct and indirect partners that have made that decision, right, to just say, hey, we're not going to wait until their agreement comes up, because it's in full control basically of the partner, because we just submit a request to go through and be able to move that license, even if it's midterm and they've got an annual agreement. The partner is the one who approves that. We can do that. Unfortunately, I think I read the question. There is no easy button at this point to just say, hey, move all of my clients from direct to indirect with Stratos. And Eric, unless you've come across something from our last conversation, I'm not aware of anything where there's a request to just automatically move all of a direct client's CSP over to indirect CSP to a specific distributor.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it is a two-channel process. You can either do effectively a change of channel partner mid-enrollment.
Yep.
So kind of, I'm changing your agreement from myself to myself just through a different channel. So
Right.
the change of channel partner process, which again, if you want to, you can. I think that's a heavy lift in the middle of a enrollment, or you can do it at renewal, which is less of a lift to do it at renewal, but no easy button, one swipe. I'm taking all of my subscriptions and migrating them from current direct to a singular or multiple indirect model.
So, Mike, I would just say, additionally, the conversations that we've had with partners that want to just move it all at once, using our marketplace and just being able to maintain kind of one source for billing and making kind of that transition, in a short period of time versus dragging it out over, maybe 6-9 months, is better for them to do that up front than to drag it out. And we certainly can help partners with that process, and are trying to make it as easy as possible, from a Stratos perspective, and working with them to get those clients moved if that's what they would like to do. It is possible. We help. There's just no easy button from Microsoft to say move them all at once.
Sure. A couple more.
I would say,
go ahead.
Quickly, dealing with two different portals over 9 months is a hassle, right? From an operations perspective. So, do you want, more or less like Eric said, do you want a heavier lift at one time or a lighter lift spread over a number of months? But just from a finance perspective and a billing perspective, dealing with two different systems, that should be a consideration as well.
Excellent. So a couple more questions. One question has, Scott, is it fair to say that they're not looking at skilling, but rather that you can always achieve 25 PCS points via skilling?
I think that's basically saying, there's revenue requirements, growth requirements, and all that that are not always, from a time frame perspective, 100% in your hand, in your control. You'd like to always have a smooth up to the right revenue bar, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. This just says it's in your control to reach that 25 points just by purely skilling your people, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. What about if you're...
Okay. I think the answer is that it's just 25 points, combined across any of those, not necessarily in one specific area. But if you have 25 points combined between skilling, performance, customer, that would qualify. And as long as you meet the trailing 12-month, revenue requirement on top of that.
Excellent, thank you. Another question, if you're already in direct, will there be changes in the licensing discounts?
If you're already in indirect, will there be changes? No. The only indirect basically change is that there's a minimum requirement now of $1,000 from a trailing 12-month perspective to maintain your indirect status. If you don't meet that, basically, that's basically selling one Business Central deal with like 2 users. If you don't meet the minimum trailing 12-month of 1,000 as an indirect reseller, your partner agreement as an indirect reseller will be terminated. And we've seen that happen. And it is happening. It's pretty easy to avoid it.
Will our ASFP support plan be credited if we transition mid-year?
It's a Microsoft question.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to that's no. And I think that if you're transitioning customers or transitioning from direct to indirect, you're still, since we don't have the easy button to move all customers at one time, you're still obligated to support the customers that are on a direct
and you can still
relationship with you, right? So the ones that haven't renewed and transitioned in indirect would still be obligated to support. So in lieu of the no easy button, there's also no refund for AFSP. Advanced support for partner. Should you not move all your customers at one time? So.
Right, and I just add on to that. It's not like you can't have it as an indirect reseller. If you want to have that, you can certainly have it. And even if you move everybody over and you're just indirect and you had that, advanced support for partners plan, you can still go through and use that, as an indirect partner.
Our last question here, one of the biggest challenges this partner had is the transferring of licenses. Of the transferring of licenses is that money being refunded and then needing to be sent to the new subscription issuer. Is there a way to just move the licenses without needing to refund the remaining amount and just transferring it to the new subscription?
Not if it's mid-term.
Yeah, I just put a comment in there too. Sorry, Michael, I didn't realize you were going to get to that one.
Sorry.
So there shouldn't be money that's transferring when there's a change of subscription from one partner to another, right? So if you're billing your customer monthly, that invoice is going monthly. When the license transitions, that new monthly billing goes to a new partner. If it's an annual commit, maybe you're doing monthly billing, then it's still like that money has happened, right? Like so the billing is still going to recur on its regular timing. So I don't understand the refund, in the rears kind of thing versus the future. So if I'm not aware of any refunding that happens on transition of licenses for money that's already been collected. Maybe I'm not reading the question correctly. I don't know.
Well, that's certainly something that we can dig more into depth with, like our partner development managers who are, working with our partners to dig into that deeper, and we try and make the process as easy and as smooth as possible. But
yeah, I'm happy to try to provide like a homework answer to that one, because I don't know if I fully digest the question and how the refunding works. So.
Excellent. One, I want to add in another one. I think these are some good ones. That should be pretty quick. We only have 3 minutes, but what's been your experience with customer attrition during a partner switch from direct to indirect?
I mean, really, the customer is the client themselves is really not impacted at all. So we haven't seen any customer, attrition, right? Because of the fact that really what's just changing is on the back end of, who the partner is getting billed by. The client basically, they don't see any interruption in their, use of the system. They're still getting billed by basically their partner, whoever that was, right? It's not, hey, Stratos is starting to bill us or anything that's strange. So I haven't heard of or seen of any, client attrition through, the process.
And then I'm going to add this one very quick one, and then we're going to be out of questions for today. And now I just lost the question. It is, what is the revenue requirement per solution area or total to Microsoft?
It's, I think it's the solution area. So basically, if you're doing business applications, you would have to have 25,000, trailing 12-month in business application CSP revenue, not all up.
Awesome. Well, that is all the time we have today for questions. Scott, Jeff,
Great.
Eric, thank you for being here. Really, really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone's time today. Before we head out, want to remind you to keep an eye on your inbox for a follow-up email, which will include a link to the webinar recording and this deck. And with that, we will sign off. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.